Question 8. A box containing screws weighs 1.21 kilograms. Each screw weighs 2.5 grams. When empty, the box weighs 60 grams. Work out the number of screws in the box. This question tests you on two things. One is converting from one metric unit to another. And secondly, it will test you on working with decimals. You will notice that there are two metric units here. One is kilograms and the other grams. Before we can work on this question properly, we must change from one unit to the other. In this case, we are changing 1.21 kilograms into grams. Since we know that each kilogram contains 1,000 grams, we simply multiply 1.21 by 1,000, and that will change it into the number of grams. When you multiply by 1,000, the effect is making it bigger. And your answer here is 1,210 grams, which is sensible because you have just a tad over 1 kilograms, which should be just over 1,000 grams. The next thing to notice about this question is that the box weighs a certain amount, 60 grams. So we will have to take the weight of the box off first before we carry out further calculations. 1,210 grams, take away 60 grams. Will give me 1,150 grams. And this is the weight of the rest of the screws. Next part, the question asks you to work out the number of screws in the box. Since I know that each screw weighs 2.5 grams, the calculation I have to carry out is 1,150 grams divided by 2.5 grams. Depending on how good you are at division, you could just do a straightforward division at this point. However, if you're not so sure, and since the question is in a non-calculator paper, it is likely that the answer will be reasonably neat. Since one screw is worth 2.5 grams, we can fairly quickly work out, as a measure, 100 screws. A 100 screws is worth 250 grams. You can build on this by doing another 100 screws, which will be the same weight, another 250 grams. We now have 500 grams. No doubt you'll notice that if you have another 100 and another 100, you end up with 1,000 grams. So far I have 400 screws, weighing 1,000 grams. The answer I'm looking for is 1,150 grams. So I'm 150 grams off my target. Now we can play with some smaller quantities. We had 100 screws before. What about 10 screws? How much does that weigh? Well, 10 screws will give me 25 grams. Add another 10 screws. That's 50 grams altogether. And if you continue in the same line, you will eventually get to 1,150 grams. Just keep checking as you're adding, and you should not go wrong. I've now added 40 screws. That's 25, 50, 75, 100 grams now. Remember, I need to add on an additional 150 grams. As you get near, it will become clearer as to what you need to add. Let's check. 25, 50 grams, 75, 100 grams, 125, 150 grams. That's exactly what I need. Just check the number of screws I have. I have my 400 screws weighing my 1000 grams. And then how many tens did I add later on? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 more screws to get my additional 150 grams. So altogether, I've added 460 screws. This question is long, but it is worth 4 marks.